Hi, this is Angelo Mutta. He's a rapper slash singer, lyricist. I've heard some of his music. I like it. He put out a reel talking about the Atlantic investigation. I don't know if y'all heard of it, but it was diving into the data sets being trained on musicians, YouTubers, entertainers, etc.
I woke up today to the news that AI has used 74 of my songs to train their models. So let's talk about it. My name is Angelo Mota. A lot of y'all might know me from Madonna. A lot of y'all might know me from Do Not Disturb. A lot of y'all might know me from Is This My Life? We just had Go Crazy. And all the songs that I just named, minus Is This My Life, probably because we just dropped that one, are songs that were used to train this model. On one database, we found that we had 74 songs of my songs, that they were using to train models. And on another one, there's 49. I never approved it. I never sought it out. I never cut a deal for money to continue to train the model. I never signed up for it. You know, I put my music out, and I guess it just got grandfathered in or whatever to any program. So
Jade Forrest, artist I know here in Atlanta, sent me an Atlantic article. So both of those things happened at the same time. Basically, they provided a search box. You can type your name in and see if any of your work has been used in these data sets, either being trained by them or just the metadata logged within them, right? Most of y'all know this. Some of you may not because it's your first time here, but I was a musician for 10 years before I started YouTube. I'm more popular on YouTube than I ever was as a musician, but I had my successes, and I found 91 of my songs in that data set. To be specific, it was two different data sets, 61 songs in the first one, 30 in the second one. I'm sure all the artists watching this are just like mind blown right now, because just to see, like I'm letting them scroll on the side just so y'all can get the gravity of it, just to see all the work you've ever done, pretty much. Like, that's most of the public music I've released and being trained in these data sets. It's a surreal feeling, you know what I'm saying? Like, it hits you and it feels like a lack of consent. I think that's the first thing that hits your brain when you see your name, song title, your name, song title 91 times. It's just like, nobody asked me for this. Nobody approached the companies that owned my music in the past, because there's only been one like indie deal situation that I was in, and I know they didn't do it because I've spoken to them in the past. This is even before we get to the part about whether it's being trained on these data sets, whether anything's being trained on these data sets, it's already a lack of consent, and that feels gross. But next, we're gonna get into the details. So this first data set is by Sleeping Disco. Disco seems to be a suffix that's attached to a lot of these, more than one of these data sets, because Leon has like a disco at the end of his name too. But Sleeping Disco has been permanently discontinued and decommissioned. I'm gonna read the statement by Sleeping Disco. So they say it's been permanently decommissioned and completely purged from all sleeping AI infrastructure and operational servers. This absolute erasure was executed proactively by our team in response to emerging public controversies, localized targeting behaviors, and escalating incidents of doxing that compromise the personal security, privacy, and individual liberties of independent authors. So it wasn't proactive. By definition, that's not proactive, that's reactive. You're lying already. Next, they say they explicitly clarified that Sleeping Disco was strictly a metadata repository. At no point did the dataset host, index, or distribute any copyrighted audio, video, or external multimedia content, nor were any generative AI models ever trained on this metadata. So they're claiming that by wiping this repository, all's well and good, nobody's getting hurt. Similar to this other data set I'm about to show you, it's not possible that they weren't at the very least indexing and linking to the work of all these artists and independent people, entities, whatever. As a way of proving that, I'm gonna show you this whole separate data set, Leon Disco. This one had 30 of my songs on it. Leon stands for Large Scale AI Open Network. It was developed by a teacher, a 40-year-old teacher named Christoph Schumann. At least he was 40 years old in 2023, so he's 43 now. As you can probably tell by his name, he's German. He insists that this database is just him providing free information, or providing information freely to the people of the world, and he kind of seems to not care who's using it to train. And people are using it to train their products. Google, for one. Google, the parent company of YouTube, the platform you're on right now. So the platform that takes 45% of my revenue is owned by a parent company that is actively using songs I made years ago as part of a gigantic data set full of billions of files to train their products, like image to text and stuff like that. Leon is the largest free data set of images and captions. They're at 5 billion image text pairs. That exceeds every other database, which is why they hold the title. This guy named Emad Mostak offered to cover the cost of computing power with no strings attached. And he wanted to launch his own open source generative AI business. That's important. So he threw them like tens of thousands of dollars just to cover the GPUs and cloud storage. And he launched Stability AI, the generative AI company I just mentioned, in 2022. And he used this free database for Stable Diffusion. A year after launch, they were seeking like a $4 billion valuation, thanks to Leon. The AI Act touched down in August of 2024 across Europe. So the EU is the body that put this in place. And it categorizes AI systems based on risk. So the ones that actively threaten people, the ones that expose sensitive information are obviously on the top of that risk level, and it works its way down. There's fines, there's restrictions, etc. But none of this has effectively prevented people's data and artists' information like mine from being indexed, categorized, exploited, trained on, used by these massive companies and independent actors. This Leon data set has been downloaded hundreds of thousands of times by countless people. Schumann doesn't even know how many people are using it right now. He has no way of knowing, and he doesn't seem to care. Why is all of this important to somebody like me, somebody like you? I mean, it goes back to the core of why art exists in the first place. I'm a human being. I've gone through shit. I've struggled throughout my life, had many ups and downs to get to the point where I can create the things I create. That applied to my music, which is almost entirely about heartbreak, and that applied to what I do now, which is almost entirely about exploitation. All that comes from real lived experience. I like to think there's real value in that, and I make sure that I keep the quality bar high too. That's why I'm not dropping 10 videos a month like some of my peers, but also, some of these AI companies and AI channels that can drop a video every day. To me, it's important that there's a distinction between these two things. What these data sets enable people to do, besides how tech founders see them as freeing information and giving access to everybody, only people who don't create shit think like that, by the way. Free access to information is all well and good in theory, right? Because it restricts 2 or 3 companies from owning everything and running everything. That's a good thing on paper. But when it takes the form of this big ass data set that includes 91 of my songs, 74 of Angelo's songs, major label artists that are in the top 40, their songs, not only does it further beat down an industry that's already struggling to make money, music as a whole. Most musicians don't make any money because of what's happening with AI music right now, partially. The rest of it is record labels. I've gone into that in the past. Anyway, it creates an environment where we don't know where our music's being used, how it's being used. Nobody asked us to use it. Nobody came to me and asked if they could catalog my music and include it in this data set. It's a consent problem. It's an exploitation problem. But I want to stick on the consent piece. These companies are mostly driven by men, mostly run by men. And historically, men have had a problem with consent. And this is no different. Their philosophy is that they can take anything. They can crawl anything. They can catalog the entire planet everything that's on the internet and use it freely just because there's no regulation. Honestly, that's how most major businesses work. That's one of the core issues of capitalism, if we really want to drill down into it. This is a level of violation, a level of exposure to the world of violent materials, pornographic materials, underage nudity, things like that are in these data sets that people like Schumann are like, and I'm paraphrasing him here from the article. I'll put the actual quote on screen. He's like, oh, I didn't know. I don't know if there's child nudity in this database, but if something like that exists, we'll definitely get right on it. This is irresponsible. This is irresponsible on a scale that we've never seen before, which is why I'm raising the alarm, which is why Angelo's raising the alarm, which is why I'm thankful Jade sent me that article and allowed me to search it for myself. This is a waving red flag. And if we don't do something about it, if we don't spread awareness of it, if we don't take a stance as a public against AI and against AI companies and bankrupt every single one of these motherfuckers, they're gonna create a world where the art you claim to love, the art you appreciate, the videos you watch can't exist because they're not economically viable, and they're trying to break through a haze, a gross grayish haze of artificial bullshit that has stolen from billions of people in order to vomit up whatever AI is creating today. Take care of yourselves, man. I'll be back real soon. I'm working on a really big project right now, but I had to take a time out to talk about this nonsense.